Starfield is massive. There's so much to do, so much to see, and some of it just isn't explained that well to us. Bethesda didn't hold our hands much on this one, that's for sure, which I kind of like, but today's video will explain things the game didn't, to try and make your time more enjoyable. All spoiler free, and that brings us to our first tip. The well-rested bonus is back. Those familiar with Bethesda games know there is generally a well-rested bonus you get after sleeping in a bed that you own. It will buff your experience earnings by 10%, making it a pretty easy way to level up faster. Make it a point to take a quick nap before heading out on an adventure to level up quicker. To get an extra bonus, you can share your bed with romanced companions, and this should buff the bonus by another 5%. Starfield offers a vast universe to explore. There are large swatches of land to traverse and the biggest cityscapes we have yet to see in a Bethesda game. I would consider the following skills to save you time and frustration. You don't start the game being able to use jetpacks. Rather, you need at least one skill point here. It's crucial to have this skill as it allows access to places you may otherwise not be able to reach. It also helps with mobility when you run out of oxygen. Fitness will allow you to sprint longer durations without running out of oxygen. In Starfield, oxygen is the same thing as stamina. Strength will increase your carrying capacity, which is low at the start of the game. After every mission, you'll find yourself having to clear your inventory, stowing, or selling things. This skip will help reduce frustration with being over-encumbered. There are other skills you're going to need in order to complete certain tasks in Starfield. Lockpicking and hacking are both thrown into one skill called security. If you've played an Elder Scrolls or Fallout game, you know how many times during a playthrough you'll come across locked doors, crates, or loot. A couple points in this skill early on in the game will make life much easier. If you want to be a pirate and board, loot, and steal enemy ships, you will have to have a skill called Targeting Control Systems. It allows you to target enemy modules specifically. Ship engines. Once the engines are knocked out, you can board the ship and take it for yourself. If you're into pickpocketing, well, you're going to need the skill Theft. And finally, you will need Stealth to sneak. You can sneak without it, but if you want to have the little indicator above your head, you're going to need this skill point. Having crew and companions is a big part of Starfield, but don't forget to assign your crew members. The crew management tab is in the main menu. Here, you will be able to see all the companions currently in your service. You can then choose what outpost or ship you would like to assign them to. Pay special attention to the skills they're going to offer you. For instance, it may be a good idea at the start to keep Sam Coe for his piloting prowess. Companions are useful for many other things as well. Like other Bethesda games, they can be glorified pack mules. Talk with them and open up their inventory to share items. On this note, you can make them way better at combat by giving them a weapon that they are proficient with. You can also give them grenades. The best part about this is they will not run out of throwables, and they will continually lob grenades at your enemies. Inventory management is going to be a big deal in Starfield. The biggest piece of advice I can offer is to use ship storage. You can access it from the start menu or by walking towards the cockpit in your ship and going to this terminal. Here you can store any item in your inventory. You can then access it from any vendor in the game, being able to sell stuff off to make some credits if you need to. It is also available at crafting stations. If the item is in your ship storage, you don't have to be carrying it on your person. Soon enough though, even your ship will run out of space. An easy way to double how much your ship can hold would be adding an extra storage container on the Frontier, your starting ship. You can do this very early in the game for cheap. Go to your local ship technician. There is one found on New Atlantis, the starting planet for the main quest line. Go to the ship editor, buy a small cargo hold, buy a small storeroom, and then add both. Total cost, 1,800 credits to double your storage space. When visiting vendors, it may be a good idea to stock up on a few items. Digipicks, for example, are a one-time use item, meaning they are used up every time you pick a lock or hack a computer. It's a good idea to go ahead and buy them when you see them. This way you don't get stuck on a quest or have to pass up really good loot because you can't crack a lock. Also along these lines is buying ammo. While in Fallout or Skyrim, I usually just looted the ammo I needed. Starfield though, I found myself in a few gunfights running out of ammo. Stocking up on some extra rounds before you head out might be well worth the credits. As far as credit earnings in this game go, They feel quite generous, so spending a little bit on ammunition or digipicks will go a long ways. Junk. Starfield does not have it. Players of Fallout know that any item you collected you could break down into crafting materials. That's not the case here. In Starfield, if you see a microscope, it's just a microscope. Items that are useful for crafting are labeled resources in your inventory. Other miscellaneous objects you find throughout the universe are not useless, however. Some are worth large amounts of money and others as decorations. The Bethesda mechanic of picking items up is back. Hold A over an object and you can move it around and place it where you would like. Crafting weapons, suits, and other items in the game can be a dead end for a lot of new players without first researching items. There is a research station aboard the Frontier, your starting ship, and I would recommend starting to research as soon as possible. Researching items will take various resources that you come across in-game. To help make this process easier for you, be sure to mark the resources you need in the menu by clicking X. This will put a small blue magnifying glass next to the items that you need. When you come across them in-game or at various vendors, you can then buy or gather those items with the little blue magnifying glass. For those miners of you out there, you might not know that you can blow up asteroids to collect mining resources. Simply target the asteroid with your weapons, and after it's reduced to rubble, fly a little closer to collect your goods. Mining on a planet is done with your mining laser, of course, but what you might not know is that you can mine a lot faster by using the left trigger button to charge the laser. Rather than just holding RT on Xbox, hold LT first, or the right mouse button on PC to charge the laser, making the process go much faster. On this note, worth mentioning to new players, you should always keep a mining laser with you, especially if you're working your way through the main quest, you're going to need it. The scanner is useful for more than just scanning. Use LB to bring it up, and you can use it to follow objectives in the game with arrows on the ground to lead the way. You can use it when looting to find hard to spot items. This is especially helpful in dark, hard to see areas, and my favorite thing to use the scanner for is for fast traveling. Starfield is a game that has you entering and exiting menus all the time, looking at missions, objectives, and locations to travel to. So anytime I can stay out of a menu, I'm very happy. Use the scanner to fast travel by looking at a planet or your ship or a place of interest. Hover over it with the scanner pulled up and click A on Xbox, and you will instantly be transported there, saving you quite a bit of time. Speaking of staying out of the menus, you can make combat a lot more seamless by hotkeying your favorite weapons and consumables. While in your inventory, click Y to favorite an item, and then you can attach it to a button on your D-pad. Or if you're on PC, you can attach it to any key that you want. That way, when you're in the heat of battle, you can very quickly swap weapons with the click of a button, or easily access healing consumables. Hand in hand with scanning is surveying. You should survey every gas giant you see, and I'll explain why. Surveying planets involves scanning all of the plant and animal life on the surface. It can be a useful way to make credits. Once a planet is 100% surveyed, they can be sold for a tidy profit. The best place to sell it is to a character named Vlad on the Eye in the Alpha Centauri system. This is not a spoiler, but you will meet him in the main quest. It can be a time-consuming process to survey most planets. Gas giants, on the other hand, you cannot land on, so you can survey them instantly with a couple clicks on your controller. The survey is 100% completed, and then you can sell it. Since this really takes no extra time to complete, you may as well survey every gas giant that you see. You can get sick or injured during your adventures in Starfield, so it's important to prepare. Keep an eye on your ailments that pop up during your travels. There are more than just stim packs in Starfield. There are healing items of various types for injuries and sickness. Simply match the icon in-game of your ailment to the type of aid that can cure it. These items can be crafted at a med station, or if you don't have the materials or the time, you can visit a doctor in-game. There is one on New Atlantis right by the lodge. A quick payment to the doctor and you'll be right as rain. Starfield has a picture mode. Access it via the start menu. The pictures you take here of your adventures are sometimes added to loading screens. Waiting is still a mechanic in Starfield like other Bethesda games. You will need to find a nice place to sit down so that you can rest. Waiting was always a helpful tool when trying to pass time for vendors to resupply. If you're selling lots of inventory off and a vendor is running out of credits, find a place to sit and wait for 48 hours for them to resupply. You can choose to hide your spacesuit every time you land at a settlement, so you don't end up looking like this guy when you're at the mall. Simply go to your inventory, the spacesuit section, and click right bumper on the controller. That way, when you're walking around the city, you can look the part. And if you land on a planet that you need a suit on, it will be there automatically for you. There are magazines in Starfield, just like the comic books in Fallout. They will give you permanent boosts to your player's skills. They are unassuming and hard to spot sometimes, but they're definitely worth looking for as their bonuses can be quite nice and permanent. Remember the survey tip to spot harder to see objects. That is going to wrap it up for my top tips list. If you liked it and found it helpful, smash the like button and let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.